In the heart of a snowy wilderness, a lone cowboy hears the desperate screams of two Apache girls. Battling vicious wolves and an unstoppable alpha beast, he joins forces with their fierce mother in a fight for survival. A tale of courage, fear, and fate, where one man becomes a legend in the frozen wilds. The wind screamed across the snowy plains, carrying with it a bitter cold that clawed into the bones. Tall pines stood like frozen guardians, their branches sagging beneath heavy snow. The land was quiet, too quiet, until that silence was torn apart. A scream. High, terrified. The scream of a child. Luke Carter, a lone cowboy riding west, froze. His horse shifted nervously, ears twitching as if it too sensed danger lurking ahead. Luke's hand instinctively went to the rifle slung over his shoulder. He had been on his way to a trading post, nothing more. But that scream, it didn't belong to this silence. He spurred his horse forward, snow spraying beneath hooves. The scream came again. Closer, more desperate. He dismounted, boots crunching as he crept through the trees. That's when he saw them. Two Apache girls, no older than 12, crouched behind a snow-dusted boulder. Their faces were pale with terror, their bodies trembling as they clung to each other. And towering above them was death itself, a massive gray wolf, fur bristling, eyes glowing like embers. Behind it, more shapes slinked through the snow, circling like shadows. Luke didn't think. He raised his rifle. The crack of the shot split the silence. The lead wolf tumbled from the rock, staining the snow red. The other wolves snarled, hackles rising. For a moment they hesitated, then turned toward Luke. Their prey had changed. They charged. Luke fired again, another wolf fell. The third leapt, jaws wide, and Luke drew his revolver just in time. A shot rang out, echoing across the wilderness. The wolf collapsed inches from his boots. Silence returned, broken only by the girl's ragged breathing. Luke lowered his gun, heart hammering, steam curling from his lips in the icy air. He approached slowly, crouched, and extended a gloved hand. "You're safe now," he whispered. The older girl hesitated, then placed her trembling fingers in his palm. For a moment their eyes met, fear in hers, determination in his. But deep inside, Luke knew this was only the beginning. Wolves never hunted alone. Somewhere out there, more eyes were watching. The forest had grown darker, as if the sun itself feared to linger. Luke walked beside the girls, guiding them through the snow. Their small hands clung to his coat, and though they spoke in whispers he couldn't understand, their eyes told him enough, they were still terrified. Every snap of a twig set his nerves on edge. He knew wolves. One pack never strayed too far from another. Then came the first howl. It rose through the trees like a ghostly cry, long and mournful, echoing across the frozen valley. The girls froze, eyes wide. Luke tightened his grip on the rifle. Another howl followed, then another, until the forest seemed alive with sound. "They're calling," Luke muttered. "And they're close." The girls whimpered. Luke's heart pounded. He had to find shelter, and fast. Through the trees, he spotted a shallow cave hidden beneath an outcropping of rock. He ushered the girls inside, his boots slipping on the icy ground. The cave was small but deep enough to give them cover. "Stay here," he whispered. He lit a small fire, its flickering glow casting dancing shadows on the cave walls. The girls huddled together, clutching each other for warmth. But Luke didn't rest. He stood at the entrance, eyes scanning the darkness beyond the firelight. Then he saw them. Amber eyes. Dozens of them. Moving between the trees, circling the cave. The pack had grown, 5, 6, maybe more. Their low growls rolled through the night, vibrating in Luke's chest. He raised his rifle, but his hands trembled. He was a good shot, but no man could hold off a dozen wolves alone. The odds were impossible. A shape lunged from the shadows, a wolf charging straight for him. Luke fired. The beast fell, but another replaced it instantly. His rifle cracked again and again, echoing like thunder, but for every wolf that dropped, two more emerged from the darkness. The girls screamed, clutching each other as one wolf leapt into the cave's mouth. Luke spun, revolver blazing, dropping it before it could reach them. The stench of blood filled the air, mixing with the smoke of the fire. The howls grew louder, closer. Luke's ammo was running low. His breath came ragged, each shot more desperate than the last. He felt the weight of death pressing closer with every second. And then, just when his hope began to fade, a figure appeared in the firelight. A woman, tall and fierce, stepped into view. Her long braids swung as she moved, and in her hand she carried a bow strung with deadly precision. Without a word, she loosed an arrow into the shadows. A wolf yelped and fell. Another arrow flew, and another. The pack hesitated. The woman shouted something in Apache, her voice sharp and commanding. The wolves growled but retreated, slipping back into the darkness. For now. Luke lowered his weapon, chest heaving. He turned to the woman. The girls cried out, running into her arms. She held them tight, whispering in their tongue. Then her eyes found Luke's, hard, distrustful, yet grateful. "You saved them," she said in broken English. "But the wolves, they will return." Luke swallowed. The firelight flickered between them, casting long shadows on the cave walls. He realized this wasn't just about wolves. Something else was out there, driving the pack to madness. And whatever it wasn't finished with them. The storm rolled in by dawn, snow whipping through the trees like knives. Luke, the woman, and the two girls prepared for what they all knew was coming. The wolves hadn't left. They had only retreated, waiting, regrouping. Luke loaded the last of his bullets. The woman, Naomi, as she introduced herself, sharpened her arrows. Together, they fortified the cave entrance with logs and stones. The girls helped where they could, gathering sticks, feeding the fire. Fear lingered in their eyes, but so did something stronger, trust. The first growl came at sunrise. Then the shadows moved. Wolves poured from the tree-line, larger in number than before. Their eyes gleamed with hunger, their bodies low to the snow as they advanced. This wasn't just a hunt. It was a siege. Luke raised his rifle. Naomi drew her bow. The battle began. Gunfire cracked, arrows whistled. Wolves fell, but more kept coming. Snow turned crimson beneath their paws. Luke fought with everything he had, each shot precise, each breath steady despite the chaos. Naomi moved like lightning, her arrows flying faster than the eye could follow. But still, the wolves pressed on. One leapt onto Luke, knocking him into the snow. Its jaws snapped inches from his face. He shoved his revolver upward, firing point blank. The beast went limp, collapsing across him. Gasping, he pushed it aside, only to see two more charging. Naomi's arrows struck them down before they reached him. She shouted something, but her voice was drowned by the chorus of howls. The girls screamed as a wolf slipped past the barricade. Luke spun, firing his last bullet. The wolf crumpled at their feet. His revolver clicked empty. No more bullets. The pack closed in, teeth flashing, eyes burning. Luke grabbed a burning log from the fire, swinging it wildly. Naomi stood beside him, her bow nearly empty. Together, they fought like cornered beasts, refusing to yield. And then, silence. The wolves froze. Their ears twitched. One by one, they backed away, whimpering, retreating into the trees. Luke blinked, chest heaving. Why are they stopping? Naomi's face was pale. Not stopping, she whispered. Listening. The ground trembled. A shadow moved among the trees. And then it appeared, larger than any wolf Luke had ever seen. A monstrous alpha, its fur scarred, its eyes glowing with unnatural fury. The girls clung to their mother, trembling. Luke raised the burning log, his heart hammering. The alpha wolf roared, a sound that shook the earth. This was no longer survival. This was war. Luke charged, shouting, fire blazing in his hand. Naomi's final arrow flew straight and true, striking the beast's eye. It howled in agony, thrashing, but Luke drove the flaming log into its chest. Fire and fury collided. The alpha staggered, then collapsed into the snow, smoke rising from its body. The pack howled in mourning, then scattered into the wilderness, their reign of terror broken. Silence returned once more. Luke collapsed to his knees, gasping, snow melting beneath the heat of his sweat. Naomi stood over him, the girls clutching her hands. Slowly, she nodded. "You are not just a cowboy," she said softly. "Today, you became part of our story." Luke looked at the endless snowy wilderness, the smoke curling from his makeshift torch. He had come here a wanderer, but he was leaving something else. A protector. And somewhere in that frozen land, the echo of the wolves remained, reminding him that nature's fury was never truly defeated, only survived.